Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadanti Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapatakamelam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvedam Savadudam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Ladida Shivishakam Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Avnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Budale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayal Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtagi Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankum Langede Girim Yatkripatamaham Mande Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Yonda Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuptam Sanjeeva Yati Akhila Shakti Dharasudanam Anyam Cha Hasta Charana Shravana Tvagadinam Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Tamadidevam Karunanidhanam Tamala Varnam Suhitavataram Apara Samsara Samudra Sedum Vajamahe Bhagavata Surupam Paramananda Pathaya Premavarshi Aksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. Hare Krishna, Hari Om Tat Sat. So we welcome all the devotees for today's Srimad Bhagavatam session. We are reading from second canto, chapter 3. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 3. Pure devotional service, the change in heart. So let us make this an interactive session so everybody can share. I'll be just facilitating that. Okay. So Sri Sukha Uvacha Evam Yedan Nigaditam Evam Etan Nigaditam Prishtavan Yad Bhavan Mama Nirnam Yan Mriyamananam Manushyesu Manishinam. One Mataji and one Prabhu, please recite.
Sri Sukha Uvacha Evam Yetan Nigaditam Prishtavan Yad Bhavan Mama Nirnam Yanmriyama Nana Manushyeshu Manisnam.
Very bold. And Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sri Sukha Uvacha Evam Yetan Nigaditam Prashtavan Yad Bhavan Mama Drinamyan Mriyamananam Manusyeshu Manishinam.
Very bold. Okay. Let us. Sorry. We'll skip the word-to-word meaning. We'll read the translation. Okay. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Maharaja Parishit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of death, so I have answered you. So Sukadeva Goswami is telling Maharaj Parishit, what he has inquired from Sukadeva Goswami. Parishit Maharaj has inquired that what is the duty of an intelligent person who is going to die. So he has answered. So what is the answer that Sukadeva Goswami has given? What's the duty of a person who is about to die? What is he going to do? What is he supposed to do?
To know about the Supreme Lord, to glorify about the Supreme Lord.
Yes.
How to reach the Supreme Abode?
Very good. So to discuss matters related to the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. So it discussing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, about his appearance, his activities, and about his devotees Leela, everything. So this actually, we should be totally away from the material things. Usually when we know that we are going to die, especially when we are aged, we know that we may not live much longer, maybe few months or few days or maybe a few years, especially when we are nearing death. Okay, we are also concerned. What we are concerned of? We are concerned of about our family, our children, our wealth. Okay, this is usually our tendency. We are not bothered, whether we'll be Krishna conscious. Yes, now of course, because we are practicing devotees, we have that concern also. But still, we are not totally purified to detach ourselves from the material demands of the mind. But still we are attached. We will be thinking of our children and their problems, the finance problems, the education problems. We'll be worried. We will not be totally detached. We are on the path. We are practicing. Those who have, totally detached, they are really very, very fortunate souls. But we're all on the path. So as we progress in our age, and when we know that we have only a few years or few months to depart from this, so we also should be in that position to forget all other attachments, just like Kunti Maharani. Kunti Maharani even requested Lord Krishna to break the ties of his relation with the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Okay, she didn't want that a stumbling block in her remembering God at the last moment. So she wanted, when Lord Krishna was departing from Hastinapur to Dwaraka, she was praying, Kundi Maharani was praying that, please, overwhelmed with love, pure love towards the Supreme Lord, she was praying, please, break the ties with my own kith and kin, Pandavas. Why? She knows when Lord Krishna was there, when calamities were there, Krishna was present. Okay, that's why she is praying also, let more and more calamities come. It is not that she is, very much happy to get tortured or to get miseries. She knows when there is calamity, Krishna was always present, isn't it? Krishna was always present when there was miseries. So that is the reason. So actually, she is not bothered about calamities or good and bad. But here, she is very sure that when there was calamity, Krishna was always present. So if he goes now, whose shelter will I take? That's why she is taking, she is praying that let the calamities befall on me again and again, so that I can have the audience of Lord Krishna. So getting the audience of Lord Krishna means that's removing the calamities, removing the problems of the miseries. So that's what she's always requesting. So let the relation of my own children not be a stumbling block in remembering Krishna. That's the reason she is praying in that way. So here the duty of the intelligent man is to always remember Krishna. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalaivaram yat prayata simadbhavam yati nashetra samsila. Whoever thinks at the time of quitting the body, me alone, Antakale cha mam eva, me alone, nobody else. So it is, we have to underline that, eva. Okay. People generally, the materialistic people, materially oriented people, those who are not practicing spirituality, what will be thinking at the time of quitting the body? The summum bonum of his or her own life. If he's a politician, he'll be thinking of politics. If he's a cine artist, They'll be thinking of films and other colleagues, isn't it? And sports person about sports. A person who is, attached to a lot of wealth about wealth. A person who is attached to opposite sex and, such people. So here we have to practice the whole day, the whole life. Only then we'll be able to think of or remember Krishna at the time of quitting the body. So that's what Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also is telling, that we have to remember him at the time of quitting the body. Only then we will attain him. Okay. So let us read the purport. In human society, all over the world, there are millions and billions of men and women, and almost all of them are less intelligent because they have very little knowledge of spirit soul. So Prabhupada is making a very good point here. So in the world, there are millions and billions of people. How many of them are having this knowledge, or how many of them are intelligent to understand that, we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. Okay, there are lots of the many schools, colleges, and universities where different branches of educations are taught. Okay, but where is that department which teaches us about the spirit soul? It's not there. That's why we become, although materially we are educated, we don't have the real knowledge, because the real knowledge is not knowing about the body, but the soul within, the self. So almost all of them have a wrong conception of life, for they identify themselves with the gross and subtle material bodies, which they are not in fact. So we have actually two bodies and the self. Okay, this is the gross body, the subtle body, and the self, the real self, the soul. So we know about the gross body to maximum possible, because there are scientists who did a lot of research and studies about the gross material body, about the physiology, about the biochemistry, about the anatomy of the body. They are very thorough, they are very expert in that. But what about the subtle body and the soul? They are not very thorough. They don't even accept the existence of the soul. They may accept mind, but they don't have clear identity or clear idea about the mind. If somebody has some problem with the mind, they cannot treat. If somebody has a wound in the leg, okay, or headache or fever or cancer or any other diseases, they can treat. But if somebody is mentally retarded, there are so many, can they make them okay? They cannot make them okay. A mentally retarded person remains mentally retarded the whole life. No medicine, no doctor can do anything, because they don't know anything about the mind. And where it is situated, how it is working, nothing. They don't have any idea, isn't it? That's why they cannot treat that. They cannot treat that. And about the soul, many of them think that there is no soul. It's a combination of chemicals, isn't it? Many of the there are some devotee scientists who knows or who accepts that there is soul, but most of the materially oriented scientists don't accept the existence of the soul. So that's why Prabhupada says they may be situated in different high and low position in the estimation of human society, but one should know definitely that unless one inquires about the own self beyond the body and the mind, all his activities in human life are total failures. They are intelligent from the material point of view. They are not intelligent from the spiritual point of view, especially about the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego, and the soul. Therefore, out of thousands and thousands of men, one may inquire about his spirit self, and thus consult the revealed scriptures like Vedanta Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. So from material education, you will not get any information about the subtle body and the self. For this, you have to take shelter of Vedic literature. Even in other religious scriptures, you will not find much about the subtle body and the self. There may be some hint here and there, the way Srimad Bhagavatam and our Vedic literatures gives information about the soul and the subtle body, no other scriptures give. That's why Prabhupada says that we have to consult the revealed scriptures like Vedanta Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, which consists of Shruti and Smritis. But in spite of reading and hearing such scriptures, unless one is in touch with a realized spiritual master, he cannot actually realize the real nature of the self, etc. And on our own, with our own, limited brain, with limited knowledge, we will not be able to understand all this information or knowledge in the right perspective. We need the guidance of a spiritual master. And spiritual master is one who has realized the knowledge. Tadvidhi pranipadena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. A realized soul only can impart the necessary knowledge to all of us. He knows everything. So we have to take shelter of a realized soul. Without the spiritual master, without his blessings, we will not be able to understand the things, especially matters related to spirituality in the right perspective. So, and out of thousands and thousands and thousands of men, someone may know what Lord Krishna is in fact. Okay, what is the slogan which relates to this particular sentence?
Bahunam Janmanam.
Yes. Bhuvanam Janmanam Mande Jnanaman Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Samahatmasu Durlabha. Okay, so out of thousands and thousands of people, someone may know what Lord Krishna is in fact. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.122 and 123, it is said that Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, prepared the Vedic literatures in the incarnation of Vyasadeva for reading by the intelligent class of men in a human society which is almost totally forgetful of the genuine relation with Krishna. So it was our fortune that Vyasadeva has compiled this. Vyasadeva is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a literary incarnation. He has compiled for the benefit of the people in the age of Kali. Till then it was, brought down as oral reception. But knowing well the disqualification rather, of the people in the age of Kali, he wrote it down. Because what we were doing just half an hour back, we won't be able to remember, recollect. So that's our intelligence in the present day. So knowing that very well, he wrote it down so that we can read and understand, contemplate on it and assimilate that. So it was Vyasadeva who made it possible. Okay, and especially this Amala Purana, he gave us the topmost, the spotless Purana. He gave it for our benefit, for the benefit of the human society. Even such an intelligent class of men may be forgetful in their relation with the Lord. The whole Bhakti Yoga process is therefore a revival of the lost relation. So why do we practice Bhakti Yoga? Because we have forgotten our real position, who we are and who the Supreme Lord is. What is our relationship with the Supreme Lord? What are we supposed to do in this human form of life? So it's a revival. So by scrutinizingly studying this Shastra, we can revive our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord and regain that which is lost. We can reinstate into our status quo. Okay. So this revival is possible in the human form of life, which is obtained only out of the evolutionary cycle of 8,400,000 species of life. So it is not that by chance we are coming to this human form of life. We have been evolving through 8,400,000 species of lives. Billions and billions of lifetimes we have taken. At last we have reached this human form of life. So the intelligent class of human being must take a serious note of this opportunity. So it's a very, very rare chance. Sudurlabham. Okay. In our Shastra, it is said, it's not Durlabham, Sudurlabham. Very, very rare, because as it is mentioned here, we have to go through all these species of lives before taking a human birth. So it's not so easy to get this. So after getting this, if we misuse or misutilize this human form, so we are losing a golden opportunity to get connected to Krishna, isn't it? So that's why Prabhupada says, make the best use of the bad bargain. Okay, make the best use of the bad bargain. The bad bargain is getting a material body is a bad bargain, but still make the best use. It is possible only in the human body. So intelligent class of human being must take a serious note of this opportunity. Not all human beings are intelligent, so the importance of human life is not always understood. Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram Acharet Najnyo, right? Durlabham Manushya. It's very, very rare. This human birth is very, very rare. Okay, so we should make use of it from the Kaumara age itself. Not wait for, for us to turn 60 or 70 or 80. What is the guarantee that we will all see 60, 70, 80? Okay, any moment that death can strike us. That's why we have to start from the early age of Kamara only, because we don't know, death may strike anytime. So we cannot guarantee that we will be living till 70 or 80 or 100 to practice. Even we, for argument's sake, let us think that we will live for 70, 80. What is our status at the age of 70 or 80? We will be totally invalid. We cannot see properly. We cannot hear properly. We cannot remember anything properly. The memory is not there. The limbs are not cooperating. Body is not okay. Lot of diseases. So how can we practice Krishna consciousness in that age? It is not possible. That's why we have to start Krishna consciousness from the early age itself. So not all human beings are intelligent. So the importance of human life is not always understood. Therefore, Manishina, meaning thoughtful, is particularly used here. Okay, an intelligent person, a thoughtful person should take up Krishna consciousness as soon as possible. Do not waste even a second. A Manishina person like Maharaja Parikshit must therefore take to the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna and fully engage himself in devotional service, hearing, chanting, etc. of the holy name and pastime of the Lord, which are all Hari Kathamrita. This action is especially recommended when one is preparing for death. So it is very clear from here, from this passage, from Prabhupada's passage, that towards the end of our life, as we prepare or as we practice Krishna consciousness, towards the end of our life, we should devote 100% for Krishna conscious activities. We are all on the path, on different grade, different level, but this is a fact that without totally absorbing in Krishna consciousness, the goal of human life will not be achieved. Parikshit Maharaj was totally absorbed in 7 days. How he could absorb 7 days totally? Because he was a pure devotee of the Lord. He was practicing Krishna consciousness throughout his life. Although he was a king, he was an emperor, but he was practicing. It's not that, only these 7 days he was, practicing Krishna consciousness. So these 7 days he could absorb totally, without sleep, without eating, even without drinking water, was totally absorbed. Okay, so that's why he could get delivered from this material existence and go back home, back to Godhead. We know the story of Gokarna, okay, and Dundugari. Dundugari got delivered when Gokarna, did that Bhagavata Saptam. How he could do that? There were so many other people also in the assembly where Gokarna was explaining about Bhagavatam. But only Dundugari got delivered. Why? What is the reason that others did not? So they're asking. So what was the reason? Why others did not get delivered? Only Dundugari got delivered. What was the reason?
In not written, attendly listen,
Yes.
not practice also.
Yeah. So that total absorption was not there.
They remember everything.
Yes, Haribol Prabhuji. So total absorption was not there for others. Okay. Dundugari was, in a helpless situation. When we are in a helpless situation, we'll forget everything else. So we'll be totally having focus. Yes, here even Parikshit Maharaj also knows that he has got only 7 days. He cannot extend even a single moment. So he was also in that situation. So total absorption. He did not think of about his citizens and about his wealth and about any other thing. So he was also totally absorbed. So such absorption was not there for other members who listened to Gokarna's sermon. Only Dundugari, in that helpless condition, wanted to get out of that ghostly, status. After hearing Bhagavatam from Gokarna, he got the 4-handed form of Vishnu and went back to body. Usually, when Srimad Bhagavatam and any other spiritual class, we tend to sleep, isn't it? Most of us. After some time, it's so boring. What is this? Every time we are hearing the same thing. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, or even though they may be physically present, their mind will be thinking so many other things. Or sometimes they'll be sleeping, snoring and all these things. Although it is good even to sleep in the class of Srimad Bhagavatam, but still we will not get the same benefit when we absorb in the class. So we are taking this very lightly. We are not serious. We think that we will live up to 100 years. And so why urgency? Why today? Tomorrow also is there. So we should be listening to Srimad Bhagavatam and any other class as if this is our last class. This is what senior devotees and acharyas is. As if this is our last class. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, I have got only 7 days. I don't have even a single minute extra. So we should be having at the back of our mind that this is going to be the last class. So we should, have that total absorption in the class, because it is about Lord Sri Krishna and his pure devotees. That will purify our consciousness. This is what is required. So total absorption is required. It is not something, we are reading newspaper every day, just, on the surface, or some novel. Prabhupada very clearly says that we have to systematically study my scriptures. Scrutinizingly study my scriptures. Only then, we'll get the right benefit. Even if we don't study in depth, we'll get benefit, but not as it is required. Not the ultimate benefit. If you want really benefit, if you want to really get the benefit, we have to scrutinizingly study. That's why these classes like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav and all. If we read ourselves, we'll just read and forget. If there is an exam, if devotee asks us to prepare for exam, we will study. We'll read and study. Otherwise, what's the meaning of this course? It's not that to get certificate. If we are asked to read ourselves, we may or we may not read. But if there is a class, we'll definitely sit and listen and contemplate and assimilate on the subject matters. Hare Krishna. So I want all the devotees to share.
Prabhuji, a small thought.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
As Parikshit Maharaj did, he was focused last 7 days continuously.
Yeah.
Even though I am taking my example, even though I am practicing Krishna consciousness for quite long time, will it be possible that last minute we'll be able to remember that much about the pastimes of Krishna or chanting, or what will be the stage? We don't know, Prabhuji, how to make it happen.
On our own strength, it is not possible.
Possible.
We have to pray to Lord for His mercy. That we should be sincere in our sadhana. And if we are sincere in our sadhana, then we will get the mercy. If you take it very lightly, okay, I will do it tomorrow. If you procrastinate and we are not very serious, then Lord also, ethamam prapadyante, tam sadaiva, like that. So if you are sincere in our effort, and if you really are interested in going back home, back to Godhead, and if you practice sincerely, then definitely the God's mercy will come. But just like without preparing for the exam, if the student goes and write the exam, will he get the mark?
No.
No. So the student is preparing, with vigorously, very hard, taking a lot of time, keeping all other extracurricular activities aside, and studying very nicely, then he'll be able to write the exam. Plus, of course, provided the mercy of the Lord is also there. So from our side, our sincere effort should be there. Then definitely there will be mercy. Just like, we learn from Damodara Leela. Okay, the endeavor from Yasodamai was there, and the mercy of the Lord was also there. So it is definitely possible, provided we take it very seriously and sincerely. If we are committed, it is possible. Anyway, there is no loss. Even if we are not very pakka, we may not be very punctual in doing things, but if we have an inclination, so we are not losing anything. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Neha Vikraman Nashoste Pratyavayo na vidyate Solpam apyasya dharmasya trayate bhado bhayat. Solpam apyasya. There's no loss or diminution in this endeavor. Whatever little we are doing, that is always in credit. So we are progressing. If we cannot complete our Krishna conscious activities in this particular life, nothing to worry. Nothing to worry. We will definitely progress from where we have stopped, from the next life. So, but it is better not to wait for the next life. It is better to finish off here in this life itself. For that, we have to sincerely try. There may be impediments. There may be so much of reversals in our life, but we have to accept it and march forward. For that, we have to pray. We have to chant sincerely to get the strength. And definitely, Lord will listen to our prayers and will be able to overcome any challenges in that direction.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Danda Pranam.
Danda Pranam. Prabhu, I have this very strange doubt, Prabhu, just asking actually, Prabhu. Like we have read in scriptures also many times that even if we are trying to practice or like Prabhu, you just now told that even if we are not successful this life, it's okay, but we can take birth, but it is better to try to do what is really required and then escape, Prabhu. Right, Prabhu?
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, here also we can see that although Parikshit Maharaj knew that he will live for only 7 days, but in our case also there is no assurance, Prabhu. Any time death can happen to us. Maybe we are very young, maybe we are in mid-age, maybe we are towards home. Death come anytime.
Yes.
So I was just thinking, Prabhu, what we should really do in this life to make this life perfect, Prabhu?
There are two main things we have to do. One is Nama Japam, okay, attentive chanting of the holy name, which is a prescribed duty for this, and Vaishnava Seva. If we focus on these two items, that is enough. Nama Japa, and
Vaishnava Seva.
Vaishnava Seva. So Vaishnava Seva means, so what do we mean by Seva? What is your
To serve
understanding?
them
What is your understanding about Seva? Say, let us say Guru Seva. Guru Seva. What is the Guru Seva?
without expecting anything in return, selflessly serving them and serving them means yeah, Prabhu, I am again using the word serving them.
Okay. So
There
what
is
do you mean
another-
by service? What do you mean by service? Okay, let us explore from different devotees. Satkirti Prabhu, what is your idea about Seva? What is Seva means? What all can be categorized as Seva?
The instructions of a spiritual master.
Yes. Instructions. That is the main. That is the crux. It's not that physical Seva is all no. Okay, that is one type of Seva. The main thing is following the instructions diligently of the spiritual master. That is Seva. Spiritual master is asking us to get up in Brahma Murta and chant our minimum 16 rounds offenselessly, attentively. Are we doing this?
It is not happening.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
So we are lacking in Seva. Okay. So that is the main instruction. So when we have taken initiation from our Guru Maharaj, we have taken some oath that we will be chanting minimum 16 rounds offenselessly, attentively, and following for the relative principles and help him in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. These are the minimum vows that I have taken. See, in the previous, if you take, 100, 200, 300 years before, getting initiation was not easy at all. Not at all easy. Now, Guru Maharaj is so merciful. He is calling us. He is calling us and giving initiation. And we take that very easily. For example, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. We know his story. How much, trouble he took to get initiation from Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj. How many times he went to him. How difficult it was. And such a scholarly person. It's not an ordinary person like us. So it's very difficult. Let us see Narottam Das Thakur. He went how many times to Loknath Swami? He did not, I say, I'm not giving initiation or accepting any disciples. But then he served very, very menial service. He did very menial service to his Guru. Cleaning when he passed stool and urine for more than a year without the knowledge of his Guru, Loknath Swami. Then later he came to understand that he is doing that, Narottam. Then at last he gave him. So it was so difficult to get even Diksha from a Guru. Now, Guru Maharaj is giving, or any Guru for that matter, in our ISKCON. So very, very, their magnanimity, because they know our position in this material world. We are too much attached to material things. So just a ISKCON disciple course and writing some philosophical questions, some few, question and answer here and there. Just, when I was in Abu Dhabi, I was told by our Rajeshwar Yadav Prabhu, there were some devotees in Andhra Pradesh who were, farmers, not much literate. So they could not read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and other this thing. So the interview was taken, there were some 36 members or something, out of which only 12 passed, the rest of them were failed. So Guru Maharaj asked, what about those other devotees? Guru Maharaj, they did not complete the requirements. They did not read the Bhagavad Gita. They did not read Bhagavatam and other things. They are not meeting the requirements for initiation. Then Guru Maharaj inquired, then came to know that because they are very, very hardworking people, laborers, who work in the farms and other things, they don't have time and they are not very literate also to understand that. Then they asked, he asked, it seems, do they know all the philosophy? They don't know the philosophy also much. But one thing, they are very service oriented. They are doing a lot of service, very pakka in their chanting and doing their service. But then Guru Maharaj asked, do they know the pranam mantra of Srila Prabhupada? They said yes. Do they know my pranam mantra? They said yes. Include them. See the mercy of the Guru. Yes, Rajeshwara Yadav Prabhu, right? Am I right?
Yes, Prabhuji, right.
See the mercy of the Guru. He is calling us. He is calling us and giving, so that at least, even at the cost of his own, difficulties, he is creating problems for himself. Because his mood is like Prahlad Maharaj. Many of the spiritual masters are like that. He is calling us and giving us, so that no Jivatma escape. Let everybody get liberation, going back home, back to God in this life itself. So this is the mode of the spiritual masters now. Previously it was not like that. So because of the influence of the Kali Yuga and because of the magnanimity of the Vaishnavas, the compassion for the fallen conditioned soul like us, they are taking risk to any extent to deliver us. So when I said Vaishnava Seva or Guru Seva, we have to first check ourselves, introspect ourselves. Are we following the instructions of the spiritual master? What the spiritual master wants us, not that we give some money or we give some good facilities. Whether we give good facility or not, he is okay. Just like I was listening to some class. There was Vyasa Puja of Guru Maharaj. Thousands and thousands of disciples were there glorifying him, Vyasas and Pada Puja, this and that. Okay. After that, next day he was supposed to go to Calcutta. For some reason, there was no, booking. Earlier booking was not there. So he was going from Mayapur to Calcutta in general compartment, standing near the toilet. The previous day, he was glorified by thousands and thousands of disciples and giving all, felicitations. Next day, he was traveling from Mayapur to Calcutta in a normal general compartment, standing, near the toilet. Just imagine. So they are ready. It's not a problem at all for them. So that is spiritual masters. So we have to take the instruction very seriously. They don't want anything material. And when we go to the spiritual master, usually we ask our material. Guru Maharaj, I'm working here now. I'm getting a better offer. I'm getting transferred to a different country. Can I take the job? Or what happened to my child? Will she or he get a good? So it was once. It's many years back when his office was there in Chakra Bhavan. He called the secretary and make a big board. Consultation, marriage, job, children education, okay, buying property. So please consult with Jayapataka Swami. Then down, write in small letters. If you want some spiritual advice, you can consult that also. Then secretary was wondering, why Guru Maharaj? Why? This is what I'm being asked. They are not asking anything spiritual. How can I get delivered from this material world? Whenever most of the people are coming and asking these material questions, am I sitting here for solving their material problem? So we have to ponder upon this. Guru is a spiritual guru, Adhyatmya guru, not a material guru, not a college professor who is teaching us physics, maths, or chemistry or anything to ask some questions, or some well-wishing friend to ask how can I invest in finance market, how can I get a good job. No, he is not. Yes, at times we can ask that also, but that is not the that's not the criteria, that's not the primary things that we should ask. Certain times when we are totally in dilemma, when we cannot take a decision, we can ask. But our main focus is to ask how we can progress in spiritual life. This should be our focus. But that we are giving a secondary consideration. We are giving primary consideration for our material things. Just like I remember when I said this, Prabhupada was traveling in train with his, American and European disciples, whites. So all of them, many of them were brahmacharis with, saffron coats, with tilak and kandimala and chika and all. So some of the, passengers in the train came to know that Prabhupada, a big sadhu, is traveling in this train. So they came from other compartments and paid obeisances. Swamiji, please bless us, please bless us. Then Prabhupada looked at the, brahmacharis and other sannyasis. I'll bless you to become like them. You want the blessing? They ran away from them. So everybody wants material blessings. So it is possible in this lifetime, definitely, provided we become serious. But unfortunately, we have got so much of karmic baggage with us. It's very difficult for us to focus and absorb in this Krishna consciousness. But anyway, nothing to worry. We are on the right path. We have boarded the train. We have to see that we don't get down in between before reaching the destination. So this is what we have to do. Each one of us should help each other. We may sometimes fall, just like the children when they practice walking when they are about 1 year old. So many times they fall, isn't it? We have to catch hold of them, make them stand, again ask them to walk. Like that, we devotees should help each other. We are all, in the beginning stage of Krishna consciousness. So we are not progressed. So we have to help each other so that we don't fall and we don't get hurt. We don't get hurt in the sense that you don't go away from the right path. Haribol, Haribol, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or? Shall we go to the 2 to 7? It's a big. Okay, we'll read that. Brahma varchasa kamastu yacheta brahmana padim indram indriya kamastu praja kamam prajapadin devim mayam tu sri kamas tejas kamo vibhavasum vasu kamo vasun rudran virya kamo tha viryavan annadya kamastu aditem swarga kamo adite sudan viswan devan raja kamaha Sadhyan samsadhako visham ayus kamo svinau devo pushti kama ilam yajet pradishta kama purusho rodasi loka matarau rupa bhikamo gandharvan sri kamo apsara urvashim adhipatya kama sarvesham yacheta paramestinam yatnyam yajet yasas kama poshakama prachetasam Vidya kamastu girisham dampatyartha umam sadim. Hare Krishna. So I want one Madaji and one Prabhu to recite this. Who wants to volunteer? Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Please help
Yes.
me, Prabhu. I'll try.
Yeah.
ब्रह्मवर्चस्य कामस्तु यजेता ब्राह्मणापतिम् इन्द्रम् इन्द्रियकामस्तु प्रजाकाम प्रजापतिन् Devim mayam tu Shrikamasतेजस्कामो विभावसुं vasukamo vasukamo vasun rudran viryokamo arthaviryavan अन्नाद्यकामस्त्व अदितिं स्वर्गकामो अदिते सुतान् विश्वान् देवान् राज्यकामा साध्यान् संसादको विषम् आयुष्कामो अस्विनौ देवौ पुष्टिकामा इलं यजेत् प्रतिष्ठा काम पुरुषो रोदशी लोकमत्रयो मतरु रूपाभिकामो गंधर्वन् स्त्रीकामो अप्सरा उर्वशीम् आधिपत्य कामो सर्वेशं यजेता परमेष्टिनाम्.
Okay, Prabhu, let other devotees recite now from Yajna. Okay, only one more. Yeah, you can continue that. Only one more. Yeah.
यज्ञं यजेत यशस्काम कोशकाम प्रचेतशं विद्यकामस्तु गिरीशं दाम्पत्यार्थ उमं सतिम्.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So two slokas, no, devotees can recite. That will be better, I think. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Can I recite?
Yeah, please.
ब्रह्मवर्चसकामस्तु यजेता ब्रह्मणापतिम् इन्द्रम् इन्द्रियकामस्तु प्रजाकामा प्रजापतिम् देवीं मायां तु श्रीकामा तेजस्कामो विभावसुं वसुकामो वसुन् रुद्रन् वीर्यकामोऽर्थ वीर्यवान्.
Okay, another devotee.
Now can I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
अन्यात् कामस्त्वदितिं स्वर्गकामो अदिते सुतान् विश्वान् देवान् राज्यकामः सान्ध्या संसादको विशाम् आयुष्कामो अश्विनौ देवौ पुष्टिकाम् इलां यजेत् प्रतिष्ठा कामा पुरुषो रोदसी लोकमातरौ.
Bol. Who else?
I can continue.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु.
Hare Krishna.
रूपाभिकामो गन्धर्वान् स्त्रीकामो अप्सरा ऊर्वशीम् आधिपत्या कामः सर्वेषां यजेता परमेष्टिनं यज्ञं यजेत्यशस्कामः कोशकामः प्रचेतसं विद्याकामस्तु गिरिशं दाम्पत्यार्था उमां सतिम्.
Hare Bol. Nicely done, everybody. Okay. So many slokas. Okay, we'll just read this. Only translation, purport, I don't think we'll be able to finish it. Okay, we'll read the translation. One who decides to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence should worship the master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma or Brahaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra. And one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, superintendent and of the material world. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire. And one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnation of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planets should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vishwadeva. And one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Sadhya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as Ashwini Kumaras. And a person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandharva planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvasi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, the head of the universe. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead. And one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be a greatly learned man, he should worship Lord Shiva. And one desires a good marital relationship, one should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. So why is that in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is given? Vyasadeva has incorporated this. These are all, just like the Karma Kanda section. Why is that Vyasadeva has included this?
This is usually in Bhagavad Gita also 4 kinds of people go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
Same like that, same for some people for fruitful life and activities also. They go for Srimad Bhagavatam, like that, Prabhu. Is it like that, Prabhu?
Yeah, because even Parishit Maharaj should be given to understand, different types of people, different types of worship, and what result they are getting. What is your goal? Now, Parishit Maharaj is listening to this Bhagavatam for any of this. So we should give the knowledge that all these things are temporary, all these things are material, but what is the real goal of life? So we have to give a comparison also, no? So all these things, if we worship all these, gods who are empowered to give all these blessings, that is our goal. Yes, definitely you can go. These are the, gods empowered to give such blessings and such material facilities. So this knowledge should be given. At the time of now, in the 5th canto, the creation. So Sukadeva Goswami is, detailing about the creation. What need is there for Parishit Maharaj to ask this question or to get this information when he is on the verge of death?
Yeah.
Right? It is not necessary for him. For the benefit of people in general, he is asking also. He is not only concerned about his deliverance. So he becomes an instrument to give this knowledge which is required by general mass of people. So one should not mistake, Srimad Bhagavatam is also recommending this. No, it is not. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. Srimad Bhagavatam is giving the crux, the essence. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yado bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apratihada yayatma suprasidati. So that is what Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching. Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udaridi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham para. So this is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam's teaching. Yes, these informations are given. Okay, the different incarnations of the Supreme Lord, different methods of worship of different demigods, what you will get as given in this. These are all given. These are all information because people should understand. No. So what's the different modes of worship and what is the result by doing such worship? So information should be given. Who we are and what is how this creation happened, how many universes are there, where we are situated, how we got this human form of life. All this information by the blessings of Supreme Lord Krishna through the medium of Parishit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, Sidhha Goswami and other saintly personalities, we are getting this. Okay, so all this, there are 10 subject matters that Bhagavatam deal with. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshna utaya manyantara ishanu katha nirodha muktir ashraya. These are the 10 subject matters that Srimad Bhagavatam is dealing with. So these are all required for us. Only then when we know all these things, then we will take up this devotional service very seriously. So that is what is required. So information, knowledge is required, isn't it? That's why, Sukadeva Goswami and Sidhha Goswami, through the medium of all this, giving this information. Otherwise, these are not required for devotees. These are all not required for devotees. But, a glimpse of such things are also, such activities or such things are also given in Srimad Bhagavatam. One should not mistake that this is also like a karmakandic portion. In detail, it is given in Vedas. 86% of the Vedas consists of karmakanda portion. Okay, 10% upasana kanda, that is worship of various demigods for various benefits, and 4% is jnana kanda. So this is how the Vedic literatures are constituted of. Okay, so just another 5 minutes.
4%?
4% is jnana kanda. But that is dealing only with dharma, artha, kama, moksha, purusharthas. But Srimad Bhagavatam is dealing with the panchama purushartha, which is prema, which is love of God, which is not mainly dealt in other Vedic literatures. So mainly predominantly it is dealing only in Srimad Bhagavatam. This prema, Krishna prema. Okay, so any other questions or comments? Also, purport we will read next week. Is it okay? Now it's already 1 hour. So please mark this particular shloka so that we can continue from the purport next week.
Yes, Prabhu.
Is that fine?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Very bold. So thank you all very much for attending this. So it's good for me also. I can also read. Otherwise, I will not read. With your help, I will also be able to read. So I will stop the recording.